Welcome back to Let's Make a Game, a channel about making computer role-playing games using the free program Twine and the Sugarcube format for Twine. In this video, I would like to continue talking about my current project of trying to code a complete dungeon crawl in 25 days. It is day 13 of the 25-day challenge. First of all, I'd like to report my progress since the last video. I have added some backing sounds. The sound of water dripping in a cave. That's an actual recording from a cave, I believe. The other thing that I've done is I've completed the basic combat loop. So it now rolls initiative, the goblins will attack, and when they have done so, you get a go at attacking them. And that continues until either the player character is dead or all of the enemies are dead. So I haven't added any of the extra things that I want, such as running away, parlaying, etc. But the basic combat loop is done. I'd now like to talk about what I was talking about in the last video, which is how I made the graphic that shows you where you are in the dungeon, or shows you the immediate area of the dungeon. So I'd created this file for my own reference, which showed me what it would look like if there was a tunnel going in a particular direction. For example, if there's a tunnel going north, it would look like that, and what it would look like if there wasn't a tunnel. So if there wasn't a tunnel to the north, it would look like that. And of course the same thing is true of the other directions, because this is symmetrical. Once I'd done that, I saw that there were areas in the corners that never changed. So these four squares up here are always the same. The same is true of the other three corners. And there's a bit in the middle that is always the same, or at least it is now. Once I add stairs going up or down, I'll have to have a graphic in there. But for the moment, there's no variation there. So I could just make a single picture representing those corners and representing the middle. For the four cardinal directions, I had to make two alternatives, one showing an open tunnel and one showing no tunnel. And I called those, for example, north_n and north_y. North_n being the one where it's closed off, and north_y being the one where it's open. And so that small number of files is a lot easier to code than doing each square individually would have been, which would have been 7 by 7 or 49 different squares. So the big problem is displaying those pictures without any gaps, because by default, if you have an img command that displays an image and then you have another one, there'll be a little gap in between them, which is usually what you want, but in this particular case we want them right up next to each other. So I used a technique that I have used before, but it was a long time ago, so it's worth repeating, and that is that you first set up a div and you specify its width and height, and then with each picture you have an HTML img command, which is distinct from the Sugarcube one, which uses square brackets. This is the HTML one, so the same thing that you would find on a website. And for those, you specify the height and width as well. And if you get the height and width correct, and if the height and width of all of the pictures that you have on a given row add up to the width of the whole picture, and similarly the height of the picture adds up, then that means that there's no space for gaps, and that means that it will print without any gaps, which is what we want. That was how I did it before I added the frame, but adding the frame was actually quite simple. I just looked at how much extra space it added, and then I had to slightly adjust the height and width of the div as a whole and the individual images. But once I got those numbers right, you got what you see. It appears to be a single picture. So that seems to be about all we have time for in this video, so I will leave it there for now. I hope that was useful or interesting to at least some of you, and I hope you will tune in next time.